Greetings to all the questions. There are a number of questions that I received from the riders after posting my first two videos from this series, how to design a training plan, and the first video, which is life and career stages of a sport horse. It's cold and raining here in Washington State. But the weather forecast is that it's gonna rain for the next 2 weeks, so that's why I'm wearing a winter coat. If I don't record this now, then I don't know when I will have the chance to record it. So the first question is, why injury year in your lifespan profile is always black? That's a good question, fair one. And so this injury year is black to reflect the impact of the major injuries. And I would give a definition to a major injury is when the horse is off work entirely, like stall rest, etc., etc., small paddock turnout, where the horse is essentially standing for 2 months or more. So it is 2 months or more of confinement, space confinement, then it is a major injury. And why it is so? Because our stamina in the body is not a given, and it does not last like in a car or in a motorcycle. And already 1 month off without proper movement is a significant period of time when our body begins degenerating. It's similar to what happens to astronauts on the orbit. Very quickly, as soon as they are not exposed to gravity and enough movement, their body become atrophic, all systems. They lose bone density, muscle mass, blood pressure, etc., etc. There are very many changes. When the horse, which is a big animal, is confined, major injury of whatever kind, it could be a colic surgery, or it can be any bone fracture, soft tissue injury. The rest of the body responds accordingly with atrophic and degenerative processes, very natural ones, which take a long time to recover. And this period of time can vary, but to completely safely rebuild everything, it is 9 months. So, in my definition, the major injury when the horse is confined for 2 months, plus 9 months recovery, well, that's almost a year. And recovery to a normal state of training where the horse was before it sustained the injury or health incident happened, health concern incident happened. So that's why. Because it is a schema, it's a schematic picture of what happens to a horse. This helps. And another question on that subject, can the injury year count as a training year too? If it is a major injury, to be conservative, I would scratch it. I would not count it as a training year, following our formula that I will describe in my next videos. I would consider it still as a rehab year. It's a rehab, but it's not a training where taking risk is a priority to develop, to produce a horse to develop brilliance. Brilliance always takes risk. The first year is a rehab year, where we prioritize conservative approach and we listen to horse's reactions instead of being focused on the training plan and taking risks where we would think they are appropriate. No, so first year is the rehab year and we go very conservatively and we play by the horse. Can a horse continue on the same level of training right after the injury year? Yes and no. A horse might be might remember and might be able to some degree perform exercises from the past where it was left off, but it may not be to the level of strength and stamina immediately at the first training year after injury. Sometimes it does happen, but if it is your horse, if it is not a horse for sale where you want to make a quick turnaround and sell for the money or just rehome, then I would say the next year after injury should be at least one level softer than where the horse was left off. So the year of rehab, then the second year of building, the third year is when you can really start again taking risks and pushing the horse, assuming veterinarians are completely signed off on it. After a year or so lay-up, we repeat Old Remount developing horse training years. Are they the same for a mature horse as they were for a young horse? Very good question. No, they are not. They are not. They still have the same principles of building up gradually the workflows, but the mature horse has already a different state of mind and a different skeleton. Growth plates are closed. There are many little processes in the horse that have already finished. They're complete. So I would say that with mature horse, after an injury, what you take into account is the injury itself and some satellite atrophic processes that happen to a horse during the lay-up and rehabilitation, because we are still balancing carefully to try and minimize some processes that are happening. You'll counteract them. With a young horse, we go on one hand side more conservatively because of the body is still being developed, still growth plates are being closed, especially in the spine. The spine bones growth plates close the last, sometimes 5th, 6th year. Yeah. So we're very, very careful in regards to the spine. And younger horses are hotter, so we ride a little bit of energy wave that they already produce. We may, for example, warm up them quicker, 15-20 minutes. Sometimes it is enough for a young horse to warm up. If it is an older horse, same Old Remount developing horse years, the warm up may need to be an hour, taking first 30 minutes just hand walking on the road. So but then the horse goes into jumping, and then the horse does all FEI dressage movements, but then the horse goes through cross country. So it's different approaches, but with the same principles, that we are not taking risks fully. We are not pushing the horse too far. Next question. What training is behind each training year abbreviation? Young Remount, Old Remount, developing horse, etc. That I will share in my next videos. My next videos will be exactly on this subject, so wait for this, guys, and it is coming soon. Subscribe to my channel, and please share these videos. Share the link to my channel to at least 2 people, 2 equestrians that you care about. Please share it. Thank you. What if my horse is talented? I work it as a developing horse already as a 4-year-old. How can it influence functional longevity? The answer is in bursts. If your horse is very talented, good bone, good zigzag in the hind leg, strong back, strong core, very easy, flexible neck and paw, so the horse goes into contact easily, strong push from behind for a jump, the horse opens like an accordion to extend into gallop and then shrinks back into collection. So there are different talents that some horses get by just because of their nature. So with these horses we can allow them to produce themselves in short periods of time. Like we can go and jump that jump or that combination, or go for a 10-miler distant riding, or we can do canter pirouette and 2 tempi flying changes if the horse gives it to us. But there is again a difference between what we can receive, take, and thank for a young horse versus the older horse. With a younger horse, it's a snippet, it's a moment, and then we're grateful and we thank and we let it be. With an older horse, you've seen FEI riders warming up in the warm-up ring before the major competition. They jump, they go over very high fences right away. In dressage you see so many passage, piaffe transitions, flying changes compressed, and that 20-30 minutes period of time before the Grand Prix test. If you do that with a young horse and you do it daily, the horse may get burned. So I hope this answers it. Yes, we can take some of the movements that the horse offers us, but we do not encourage the horse to give it to us all the time, many times. Yeah? We still follow the pattern of natural development, slow development. How can it influence functional longevity? If you do it in bursts, if these are short snippets of high intensity, high level movements, jumps, speed, distances, then you will be okay, and your horse, and you will enjoy it. And there is always a little risk that it might be pushing the structures in a horse, but it might be okay. But if you are taking it, if you're getting excited and you're taking it a little bit seriously, and you go in a passage couple perimeters in the dressage arena, that might build up, aggregate and build up systemic injury that will reveal itself sometime, that may reveal itself sometime down the road. We don't want that, right? Thanks. How can I determine a training year start for my horse? What is a good age? There is a formula in my first video on a slide in a yellow box, how to calculate it. And I also uploaded on my website www.equestrianinsider the Excel spreadsheet. It's a free download. It has a table which maps age of a horse by month on a monthly basis, with stages in training and competitions that are allowed by United States Dressage Federation. So go there, download this Excel spreadsheet. The link to it will be in the bottom of this video, and play with it, and it is very to determine. Thank you. I've heard that in cavalry, horse preparation was 2 years. 1 year young horse, another year Old Remount, and so it's totally 2 years. Why are we looking at 4 years total for a young horse before developing horse in this system? That's a good question, because horses were recruited to cavalries from the breeding yards at the age of 4 or 5 years old, sometimes 6. It was economically not efficient to spend 4 years on top for these horses. Plus, longevity, functional longevity, was not expected for horses in the military. They would serve 3-4 years on average, and then they would be retired from a detachment back to their homes, or they would be sold on the market. Those who lived, of course. As many horses were not able to sustain the work in the cavalry, and their lives were terminated one way or another. So that's why late age to start recruiting to the army, and economic reasons for bringing the horse up. Some horses would be schooled only for 1 year before recruited to a detachment. And you can find this information in the books of Wilhelm Müller, HDV 12, the German cavalry book, and in the book of James Phillis. This is a century before the century. They describe this process. Yeah. In our system, we start with the horses much earlier to develop good imprinting and social interaction with humans, so that horses would assume responsibility for humans' safety. And back then in cavalry, this imprinting was not that important, because horses were bred and schooled to fight humans. Yeah, they were military horses. Their objective was to fight other horses and other humans. So this imprinting was like, why? And horses were mostly schooled by dominance applied to them, and force. But when you school a horse as your friend, then you want to have the social imprinting, and you want to bring up the horse safely for a long, functional, happy life.